Hey guys, welcome to the Airy Side Podcast with your hosts, Sophia
D.
And Elena.
We appreciate you guys listening and we hope you're ready to get on the airy side.
All right, guys, how are we feeling now that we're back from Vegas? Woo woo.
Exhausted.
We have a newly turned 21-year-old in the
yeah.
house.
Hooray.
It was pretty fun because we got to spend like the first few days where I was, still 20. So we did all like the touristy
Like
sites.
M&M World.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola shop, all that stuff, which is really fun.
Yummy.
And then we went out and celebrated my 21st, which was really fun. Until some of us decided to pass out. Well, not really pass out, but my sister here, for those of you who don't know,
I cannot stay up late. I'm a grandma.
she's the grandmother here in this dynamic. You would think it'd be our mom, but no. She's more of a night owl than my sister here is, but it was kind of funny because we're at this very cute rooftop bar in Vegas.
It was chic, yeah.
It was very cute. We had like a nice view, and I'm like taking pictures. I have my little sparkly tiara on. It says 21st, and I look over my mom. It's all fun. I look over, and Sophia's passed out on the couch.
That's about right.
Sleeping like a baby.
There was a couch in the bar that we had, I don't know, just decided to sit at, so.
Yeah, they sat us there, and she was just full blown taking a nap.
I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore.
It was so
and
funny.
it wasn't even because of alcohol. Like, I don't even know if I was drinking that
I don't
night.
even think I think you had like one or two sips, and then you knocked out.
It was just like 2 a.m, and I was like, I can't.
I know, which is funny because it had a 2-drink minimum for each person if you wanted to sit down, and like and we're like, oh god damn! It was like now it's like okay, now we have to. Mom and I had to drink your drinks in order to. Luckily, we got like
no complaints.
we got this like big margarita that like I guess it's like supposed to.
4 to 6 people. Could
Yeah, so
drink
we're
it.
like, does that count as our minimum? And they're like, yeah. So thankfully we got that. And so we just had to finish that. And it wasn't so bad, but it was a lot
It was
of fun.
not sweet enough, and at that point, I was ready to go to bed, anyways.
And then it happened, I think, again too, when we were just leaving the casino, and a guy's like walks up, and I'm thinking like, oh, he's just gonna be like, let me check your ID, because I just turned 21, so I look young, or something like that. Then he's like asking mom how many people are in our party, and I was like, what? Like, what's going on? And he's like, he pulls out this little ticket, and he's like, here, go to the nearest bar, buy 3 drinks on us. And I was
that
like,
the same night too?
no, that
No.
was
different night?
okay, because
Okay.
technically it was my birthday because it just hit midnight. There was the rooftop, and then like the next day, like my birthday night.
You're right.
Which I think technically when he gave it to me, it wasn't even my birthday anymore because it was past midnight. But we're like, okay, 3 free drinks, which of course she did not drink hers, and I finished.
That was so nice of him, but at the same
know.
time, I was like, for the love of God, I just want to go to bed, and now we can stay out even later. And like, I thought about getting a Shirley Temple, but I was like, it's $20 for a Shirley Temple.
Sophia's the only one in Vegas who gets the Shirley Temple and is over 21. I wanted to gamble.
Yeah, and she's like, I want to go to bed, guys. And then we had to find a bar in the casino that was open because it was kind of like this area is open, but this one's not. So we finally found it, and I just see Sophia like slumped down again on the couch, just knocked out.
But I'm drinking this is the first time I ever made a mojito homemade, so I'm drinking that
Nice.
right now, and it's actually pretty good. I will say.
And she put it in a mug instead of a glass. That's a liquor glass. Hello. With a straw.
Whatever works.
Because it was so funny because like we're all trying to like we're trying to find this bar, and it's like really like a ticking time bomb here with Sophia, because it's like there's only so much longer she can go before she just passes out. So we had finally like found a bar, and we got 3 margaritas. Of course, she didn't drink it, which I ended up having it, so I wasn't complaining either. And we just kind of chilled while she was like, I was like jamming out, listening to music. I was like, it's my birthday, yeah. And then you're just like knocked out.
I'm pouring myself another glass of wine.
Meanwhile, people are offering me free drinks because I'm wearing my tiara, and it just keeps coming. And I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to a free drink. Like, you know, you're gonna.
My tiara said I turned 21 too, but no one offered me a free drink.
Yeah, we made Mom have the one that was like 21st on it. We thought
People
it was
said
funny.
happy birthday to her.
Yeah, they did say happy birthday to me, but they
Yeah.
did not offer me a free drink.
Yeah, because we all had like birthday crew.
What's funny that you pointed out is people would say happy birthday to you, and I would say thank you.
Oh yeah, like it happened the first time, and I was taken back by it, and I was like, "Is it your birthday?" Like I'm confused because when we were going into Vegas, I told him I was like, for my birthday, my 21st, it is going to be all about me. Like I prefaced you guys, I was like, just so you know, whatever I say goes.
And that's
today.
how you know she's the youngest child.
Yeah, today is all about me.
I've never had that kind of treatment in my life.
Please.
Boo hoo.
Yeah, let's bring out the smallest violin for you.
And
I don't understand how the entire week can be devoted. For
It
you.
wasn't the whole week, it was the day.
she needs a pity party sometimes.
No. It was the
Pity
entire
potty.
It sounded like she said pity potty. But yeah, it was and then it happened again, so it was like happy birthday, and I was like, thanks, and Sophia goes, thanks, and I'm like, is it your birthday?
It was so unintentional too.
No, I know you meant like thank you for thanking
Yeah,
it, but it was just so funny because I was just like, they're gonna think it's your birthday.
They did when you were not around because I was
Yeah.
wearing something that said birthday girl
Right,
on my
yeah.
head, and it was kind of fun when they
Yeah, it was just honestly so sweet how everyone
Yeah.
was saying happy birthday to me, because I mean I had the sash, so it was pretty obvious, but like I was not expecting. I wasn't planning on wearing one. You guys bought it for me and surprised me, which is cool. But I was like, 'cause I don't know, I felt like it might have been too tacky if I bought one myself. So I was like, I won't. But I was like, so cool. It was so cool. And then everyone just kept wishing me happy birthday, and I was like, oh my God, thank you. Like, it's so small, and it really isn't like doing a lot, but for some, it just really made me feel like I was like, oh wow, like thank you. That like
It shows how many nice people there are.
right,
You know?
like you don't it's not like that big of it doesn't, they don't have to go out of their way that much, but they're still putting an effort to say like, hey, happy birthday.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you so much, like that really, like, and I ended up having like a lot of really cool conversations with different people because of that, and like it opened up a lot. And so now like I went out the other night with one of my friends, and I saw someone with a sash, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna say happy birthday, because I know like how like much that made me feel. So I'm like, now I'm like passing it on. If I see anyone with a sash, I'm always like, happy birthday, like let's go.
What is it, like a pay it forward train? Is
Yeah,
that what
kind of.
that is?
Yeah. But yeah, so it was nice.
And-
Yeah.
And we're gonna actually be going back to Vegas.
That's
in
true.
September.
I'm so excited because like I really only got to spend like really like a day or two in Vegas 21, so I didn't get to, which is probably best that I wasn't at the casinos for too much, longer. But
But you did win.
I did win. I did end up winning everything I like, which wasn't a lot. Like I did not spend a lot gambling, but I was able to win what I lost. Well, literally I lost back. But so it was fun. It was kind of like Vegas saying like happy birthday for
It's
you.
beginner's luck.
It really is, and that's what everyone said. I did good in poker at first, and then like once my birthday stopped, it was like the second it hit the next day, I like lost all my luck, and I was like, oh. But like I said, like I set myself a limit, and I was like, that's how you got to do it. You got to set yourself a limit and be like, I'm only going to spend this much money. If I lose that much money, I'm okay, but you don't let yourself go over that. And I ended up like not losing anything, which is really great. So that was nice. But yeah, we are going back, and I'm super excited because one, I get to like, you and we get to like experience Vegas both being like 21, and then we're going to see, drumroll, Silas and Stu from Creep Time, which we are so excited. I started watching Creep Time when he was doing his TikTok videos. And then I kept saying like, oh, he's got to make a podcast. It'd be so interesting for him to make a podcast. And he did. And then I put you two girls on it.
Yeah, you
and,
got me hooked.
Yeah, I put everyone on that podcast. I love it so much. And people like will ask me like true crime podcasts. I don't even say ours. I'm like, Creep Time. Gotta go to Creep Crime. And then I'm like, oh, wait, we have one too. But yeah, we're so excited because we also got VIP tickets.
Yeah, I was waiting like on the dot to purchase them.
I remember I like came out of my class and like I was like like on the phone call with you and I was like, okay, I gotta get back to class, but like, how is it going? What are we getting? What do our tickets look like? And
nobody else had selected any seats when I selected ours. I could not believe our luck.
yeah, it was
shocked.
so cool. So we got like first dibs, first pick, and it was so great. And we get a meet and greet. So obviously, this is our shout out for Creep Time the podcast. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with it.
What's funny is before I used to listen to different podcasts, and then once Creep Time came out, like exclusively only almost.
No, I know because it keeps you entertained. And they make you laugh, but they're also like so like interesting. But with that, I think that's our little.
Bring it back in.
Yeah, we gotta bring ourselves back in because I'm gonna keep
be like, what?
This is gonna turn into a Vegas podcast if I keep talking. This whole episode is gonna be titled Vegas. So
I know we usually don't talk.
I know, but with that, let's get going. Sophia, I think you have a case for us today.
Yeah, so I've been waiting to share this one with you guys. It is called the devastating Victoria Hall disaster. So this case, guys, it's a bit wild, like so wild that I could not believe. Are you looking at what I've written, Mom?
No.
She's trying to cheat.
I want her to like.
She's trying to get a sneak peek.
I felt like it. No, I need to. Be
I was just thinking, what cigar I'm going to smoke tonight.
Okay. So yeah, this case it's wild, like so wild that I could not believe I had not already. Come on, Elena.
Sorry. Okay, go.
Okay, I cannot believe I had not already heard of it before. It's more of a tragedy than it is true crime, and it actually took place in Britain, I should say.
Ooh.
But have either of you heard of it before, the Victoria Hall disaster?
The name sounds familiar, but I just searched it up just to see what.
Don't search it up.
I'm not sure.
I just wanted to see what her face looked like, and no, I do not know anything about it.
Okay.
I
I
don't
made
think
sure
so.
not to read anything though.
What would you say, Mom?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If you couldn't tell, we are siblings.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Y'all should buckle up because it's a lot. And yeah, I'm not going to say anything more because not even a little bit. I don't like spoilers, as you know. But the year, it is 1883.
Wait, what? 1883?
Yeah.
Okay.
1883.
Why they didn't have mysteries and murders back then?
I was just looking at the picture, but yeah, I was just looking it up, and actually, what I was looking up wasn't even the actual case. So no, I do not know about this.
Okay. As I was saying, the year is 1883, and it takes place.
The year I was born.
Damn, you didn't have to out yourself like that.
I don't do it before you guys do it.
Damn, there goes our blackmailing, Mom.
No, we have nothing on her.
Oh, please, we
Only
have.
1,000,001 worst.
We have stuff up.
Okay, 1883. It's on a Saturday afternoon in the middle of June. A variety show is being performed by the Fays from Tynemouth Aquarium.
Wait,
I hope I pronounced that right.
backtrack. You said there's what going on?
A variety show at the aquarium? Is that what I understood?
No. Okay, so I'm going to get into what a variety show is, but there's a variety show being performed by a husband and wife by the last name of the Fays, and they were from Tynemouth Aquarium.
Okay.
Maybe it's Tynmouth. I'm not sure. But
Are they
yeah. So no, what?
are they performing in the aquarium?
No, they're from
Oh.
Tynmouth Aquarium.
Oh, okay, that's a place, not an aquarium.
Yes.
Okay. My bad.
Explain this maybe more simply: is a husband and wife couple by the last name of the Fays were performing a variety show.
Cool.
Do any of you know what a variety show is?
A show with variety? I mean,
Mom?
Well, only from what I've seen in TV, like in those eras. I mean, they had different people with oddities, and they had them up there, and people would walk in, or they did different stuff. That's all I know of. If that is correct, what they show on TV.
So similar. It's an entertainment show and it can have a lot of different types of entertainment. So there can be music, songs, dances, magic, comedy, acrobats, juggling, and ventriloquism, which is like, I think, where they have like the
Hit
doll.
that out of the park there.
Yeah.
I'm not. I mean, I probably
Ventriloquism.
couldn't.
Redeem myself. Where they have like the doll or whatever and pretending to speak.
So it's kind of like, honestly, it's like something you would see in Vegas or like a circus show, right?
Some things,
Yeah,
like
okay,
of
cool.
the sort. It's more
Yeah.
like a combination of a lot of different things.
Okay, so anything's on the table.
Yeah, it's like a
Cool.
little bit all over the place.
That's cool.
This particular variety show was a children's variety show, and it was advertised as being the greatest treat for children ever given. Conjuring, talking waxworks, living marionettes, the great ghost illusion.
I love ghost things. I'm not sure if I 100% believe, but I love watching ghost stuff.
Yeah, you do. Can't relate though.
It's funny though, because even if it's not real, like sometimes like the intensity can get you like scared, and I love horror movies too.
That's the point. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Mom, we can hear you breathing.
did you burp?
No, she was just breathing right into
Oh.
and I could hear her.
I heard something.
She's breathing.
She's excited. Okay. Over 2,000 children attended this variety show.
Wow.
And now is a good time to talk about the building itself that this variety show was taking place. So the building was called Victoria Hall. It's funny because I know you looked it up first and you thought Victoria was a girl, I think, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I thought it was.
It's the building that's called Victoria Hall. And it was a Gothic building that faced Mowbray Park. It was a concert hall that held lots of shows and events. There was a main floor, which is where the stage was on. And then there was a gallery, which held 2 balconies. So, like I said earlier, over 2,000 children were in attendance of this variety show. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's very unlikely just from what happened, what I was able to gather. I don't think the parents were with them in the seats, like in the variety show with them. So,
Like all the kids?
yeah, no, it was
okay.
just the kids were in the show, were like watching the show. And there were caretakers there that I think the show or the hall had provided.
Okay.
But definitely more kids than caretakers. There were not that many caretakers compared to the number of children that were there. So
It wasn't like a school trip, field trip, was it?
no,
Okay.
I did not gather that at all. So I think the parents brought their kids there, is how I understand it. With this setup that I've just given you both, what are you thinking right now? Do you have any inkling as to what is going to happen?
No, but I like the idea of dropping off your kids and leaving.
You might. I mean, by the way this is going, I feel like you're gonna regret that. Yeah. I mean, wait, didn't you used to do that? You used to drop us off at camp, right, in the summer?
That was camp.
Right. No.
Okay,
but-
this is a short show. It's not even that long.
Okay.
Anyways, no, I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but now that you like set the scene with all these kids there, I'm like looking like it's not gonna end well.
Some tragedy.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yes. So as you can imagine, definitely nothing good comes next. So this next part, different sources say different things on what happened. One source says that Mr. and Mrs. Faye, the couple who were hosting the show, they had promised beforehand that all the children who came to the show would receive a prize. And you have to think about that at the time. Most of these children who were attending the variety show were very impoverished. So the idea for these children to receive a free toy, that was a pretty big deal for them to be, promised that beforehand. If they came, they would receive a free toy. But I was also able to find a paper advertisement for the show that said every child that entered would receive a chance at winning a free toy. So one source said that certain number tickets would receive a free toy. So if the ticket a child had been given while entering was a winner, they'd receive a toy. Another source said it was announced at the end of the show only that gifts would be handed out on stage. And someone else claimed that toys had just started to be thrown out into the audience on the ground floor in front of the stage. So just imagine the excitement that all these poor, very impoverished poor kids are starting to feel with what would soon become a toy frenzy, having all these toys being thrown out or promised to be given out. Can you tell that just the setup is kind of a recipe for disaster?
I'm not sure. I mean, there sometimes you go to concerts and they'll throw things out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, think about it this way. There's like not that many caretakers. There's a bunch of kids. They're all very poor. Usually don't have the opportunity to receive,
Well, it
toys.
depends how it all went down. Like, were they just throwing it out there? Did you just throw it to the front? So, unless I know more, I don't even know how it went down.
Right. Well, I'll explain how it went down. I guess you can't really know until something like this happens, but here's what actually, happened when it was announced. So, however the toy giving actually transpired, and again, there's different accounts of it. What happened is as you can imagine, well, as I can imagine, maybe not you both, as like you just said, you think that maybe not necessarily it would be completely crazy. In reality, it was pure chaos. So just for like a setup, think like Black Friday sales in America when people are ready to do whatever it takes to get that extra large flat screen TV at a discount.
Jeez, like a Black Friday sales go crazy.
Yeah.
I've never shopped one, but I've always wanted to.
No, girl, it's
I
not
know.
safe.
I know it's not safe. But
Wait, is your mic working? I feel bad.
say that again, Mom.
No, thank you.
That was me. I accidentally muted you.
Oh, no.
I figured.
Oh, no. Okay.
Wait.
Is this toy free gifting out done after this variety show's over? Or during or at the
She
beginning?
says there's conflicting.
Yeah, there's
reports.
conflicting accounts.
So at this point, you don't even know if the show
I
did what they had to do in their show.
Right. What I think is because the kids were not all like say downstairs, going upstairs or anything, like I think they were all at some point in their seats. So I am assuming that it was at some point throughout the variety show, like maybe when they were told they were about to receive the gifts or gifts had started being thrown out. But they were all on the two different balconies and the main floor as well. Elena, did you want to say something? No.
Nope,
Okay.
I'm good. Yeah.
So
Sophia, stop lip smacking. Every time you lip smack, I have to go back and edit that out.
okay, I'm gonna try not to.
No, you're good. Just be careful because every time I see it pop up on the little thing, I'm like, oh, there's one more thing I gotta.
Okay. Unfortunately, though, and tragically, like it was a similar situation here I'm talking about the Black Friday, but with these children. So you both remembered, I'm assuming how I mentioned that there was a main floor and then the two balconies. Well, the kids in the balconies, of course, I'm saying of course, but now I'm like, maybe it's not that obvious that this would happen. So, but here's what happened. The kids in the balconies started running to get their free toys, but they had to first run downstairs. Well, they didn't have to run, I suppose, but they chose to. And it makes sense because these children are being told that they're going to get free toys.
And they're just kids, and that's how.
Yeah, and it's a steal. Well, it would be a steal, except for in this case, they're poor. They don't usually get, these sorts of things. But
Great
okay, they're
opportunity.
running down the stairs, but at the foot of the stairs, or the bottom of the stairs, there's a door you have to open to exit the staircase. Unfortunately, this door opens inwards.
Oh,
so
God.
obviously, yeah, they could not just push it out to leave the staircase.
Jeez.
They would have had to pull it inwards towards themselves to open the door and leave. The problem, though, is that there were so many kids running, pushing, and trying to get to the toys that there was no room for the kids by the door at the bottom of the stairs to actually have any room to open the door. Instead, kids kept coming and coming and coming, and the blockage kept building and building, so that the kids at the bottom of the stairs by the door, because remember, going down the stairs, there's a decline. Well, the kids at the bottom got completely trampled as more kids kept piling on,
God.
and then more kids piled onto them, and then more kids piled onto those kids, so that there were just kids upon kids upon kids in the stairwell with no way to escape. It was essentially a stampede, a really, really bad stampede, and just a pileup of kids. So what are you guys thinking right now?
That's just crazy and horrific.
I'm just thinking how they could even open the doors if there's so many kids up
Yeah.
against the door. And that is weird that doors would open in towards the stairs. That's another
Yeah, it reminded me.
Interesting situation.
It reminded me of something like I feel like I learned in like I don't know, like history class in like middle school or high school. I just remember like there was this like tragic event that we were talking about with like a fire, and like the same thing happened. And these are all adults, like they were trying to get out, and everyone was pushing to the door, but it opened inward instead of out. So like everyone is trying to like open the door. Everyone's pushing against them. So it's like that's something that can even happen with adults when they're like in a fear, fight or flight situation, and their instincts are kicking in and they're not thinking straight. So that's something that can it's dangerous even with adults in those circumstances.
Yeah, as you can imagine, these sorts of things happen to adults and children, safety issues, and obviously over time, I think we have learned from them and made adjustments to account for them. So, how many kids do you think both died from this?
How many stairwells were there?
Well, I think this happened in just one of the stairwells.
So going up and down, there's only one stairwell?
I don't know. I think there was another stairwell, but I think this is the only one where this specific situation happened.
So like the stairwell from this specific balcony, most likely.
Yeah, on this side of the balcony.
Okay,
as I understand.
How many children were there?
2,000.
Oh wow, I would say 200. Something happened to about 200 of them.
You too, Elena? Is that your bet or guess?
I mean, I'd like to guess slower, but honestly, I'm afraid to even give a number because I don't want it to be true. So, I mean, I'm gonna hope it's something smaller and like like less than 10. But unfortunately, I don't know.
So it ended up being over 183 kids that ended up dying. So
wow,
yeah,
geez.
200 was pretty close to bet, which is to me that number is insane to think about.
Yeah. 180 kids in one day.
Yeah, especially the way they died, like a stampede or trampling from the stairwell. All of them piled up. It's just like a lot. 114 boys and 69 girls died from the ages of 3 to 14. And not only did children die, but some families had all their children killed in this event. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's awful.
Yeah, it's just extra tragic. Extra tragic that all of them died, especially when it was supposed to be a fun event.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super sad. Aren't you guys surprised you've never heard of this before?
I am, but this sounds something that someone learned from and changed the way buildings are set up for fires and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it sounds like. But I mean, this did happen in England, so it could be something that's not, passed down here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I've never heard of that, and I'm a little shocked, but also because I know it's like an older case, and unfortunately, a lot of older cases tend to go, tend to be forgotten, and I think that's why, we sometimes pick older cases is to like remember the names, the faces, the tragic events, just to never forget. So I'm shocked that this is not something that I know, but at the same time, because it is in a different country and it is further back, I'm not surprised.
Did all these children were all from the same city or towns, or were they from different areas?
I am not entirely sure. I think they're from the same area, maybe the same town. I don't know. I think the variety show was traveling again, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm just making an assumption.
Okay.
But actually, though, that's a good point you make up, because if this town, I don't know how big the town was, but if it's very small and so many of the kids died, that could have created a huge...
well, that's a huge tragedy for that town. I mean, to lose all those kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's interesting because in all my research I had done, I had not seen anything about that mentioned, but now I'm wondering. So, yeah, I personally was shocked that I had never heard of this.
How did the officials handle it after that?
So, yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just like, there's so many. Yeah, it's just so sad and crazy. But I want to give you both a graphic, just so you can visually see what it might have looked like for all these children to be piled on top of each other.
They actually took a picture of it?
No, it was drawn out, but I think this helps understand more like also how to prevent this in the future. Because when I when I heard of this, I'm a very visual person, so it made sense to me. But I also needed something visual to understand how this could have happened. And I think this is probably not like the best. Okay,
Send it in the chat.
want me to send it in the chat?
Send it in the chat.
Okay, I'll send it in the chat.
Let's make sure all of our phones are off this time.
It looks like a stampede.
Yeah, which essentially it was. It's so tragic.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and actually I found another picture too. I mean, it's just drawing, right?
Holy crap. That is graphic.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even show them
Right.
up against the door, probably
No.
trying to get out. This is just like a
Right.
hallway.
That's the
Right.
thing.
You know,
But
it doesn't even look like stairs. It really looks like a hallway, or, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I found another one that might show, like, give you greater idea of what it would look like if. Are we going to show these pictures on the social media for people?
Yeah, these will be,
this
will,
one shows-
Yeah, there they are trying to open the door to get
Yeah,
the kids.
and also like Mom had said, we're gonna get to it, like how hard it would be to like retrieve all these.
I love how
bodies.
Roomba's going off right now in the background.
Oh boy.
That would be a very difficult door to open, actually, on the other side.
Yeah, because you would have to still push
Uh-huh.
more kids
More
back,
kids
which
back.
would do more damage to get them out, unless someone from the balcony was like pulling the kids away.
But to pull all these kids
Still,
away.
yeah,
is almost-
if there's someone as young as 3, they're not going to understand like, hey, you guys will get your toys, just back up for right now. Do you know how long it took them for like the police to realize like, oh, something's going on, like this is a problem, we need to get help?
So I think right away,
Oh, okay.
because there was a caretaker there.
Mhm.
So one of the caretakers there, Frederick Graham, actually
Mhm.
tried to free some of the trapped children there, but he was not successful.
Mm.
I'm not sure why he wasn't successful or what he tried to do. That just did not work out. But since that didn't work, he led 600 other children out of an emergency exit. So maybe this was the only staircase on the balcony, but at least he was able to bring 600 children to safety from an emergency exit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the causes of death was asphyxia because they were not able to breathe with so
Yeah.
much weight on top of them, which again for me is so hard to like, I guess, actually put into my mind to think about. That's why I needed a photo, because I'm like, they must have been so crushed on top of each other.
Yeah.
And it's also crazy is this happened in 1883 and 183 children died, which is just super
It's
eerie.
crazy, yeah.
Okay, and one other thing I want to mention, just in case people weren't thinking about it like this, but this was like the bottom of the staircase, so there wasn't even anywhere for the kids to keep like going down to another staircase. It was
Right.
literally the dead end. So once the parents and the adults learned what had transpired, they tried to clear the staircase by pulling the children through the small gap of the door that they were able to push inward enough to create some room. So luckily they were able to make enough space by pushing the door just to start to bring, unfortunately, some of the bodies through the door and empty the staircase. This is what one of the survivors, William Codling, ended up saying about the event. Then the pressure above began to lessen. A report spread that the toys were being distributed in the gallery, and those behind, having made a feeble rush upwards, back retarded across that path of death. At the first landing, we were met by some men and taken out of doors into the open air, where was assembled a crowd of frightened people drawn together by wild rumors. Soon men began to come down the steps bearing in their arms lifeless burdens, and from the crowd came a wail of grief, while some of them ran off to tell the terrible news, which unnerved the whole town, and which in a few hours sent a thrill of horror through the whole of Britain. I had not thought the affair was serious, and now I looked on spellbound as body after body was brought out and laid in a row upon the pavement. One woman, I remember, came out carrying a child, which she had gone in to seek, while behind her came a sympathetic man bearing another. The woman came down the steps with agonized face and disheveled hair and shouted fiercely to the crowd, get back, and let them have air." "Ah, my good woman," said the man who bore her other burden, while tears rolled down his cheeks. "Ah, they will never need air no more." One good thing that came out of this, and of course, a lot of the safety things we have in place today have to come after a lesson is learned from a tragedy. But one thing that came from this is the push bar emergency exit or the crash bar.
Yeah.
So we have emergency exits now that easily open outwards just by pushing on them because of this tragedy. Doors like this that we have now would have allowed those kids to easily open the door and escape. And those doors also can be easily opened from the outside, even if there is something blocking the door, like a stampede of kids. Across the country, people learned of the tragedy in local newspapers, and after it was published, a fundraiser was started and ended up raising about £6,000, which is about £700,000 in today's money, which was raised for the victims' families. They did build a memorial for the victims of the tragedy. It was first put in Bishop Wearmouth Cemetery, but was eventually moved to Mowbray Park, which was right across from the hall.
Wait, what was moved?
A memorial.
Oh, okay.
So eventually it was moved to be right across from the hall where this disaster had happened, Victoria Hall.
Just to double check, that quote that you said that was from one of the kids that were there that day, right?
Yes.
In the hallway.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
I think he said that later when he was older.
Yeah, that must have been so traumatizing, just the way that he described it for everyone, not just like the kids, the adults too. Like that must have just been gruesome to see.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm sure he understood more, as he got older as well. Parliament ended up passing a law that required all entertainment venues to have an adequate amount of exits and for all existing emergency exits to open outwards so as to avoid this same stampede scenario. This wouldn't be the last time people died because of a lack of a crash bar or emergency exits. 602 people died in 1903 in a theater in Chicago because the exits were blocked and there was no push bar. So
600?
Yeah, over 602 people. So
awful.
Yeah, it's really bad. I assume these changes were first made in Britain because this is where the disaster happened. And then it seems like the U.S. had to have their own tragedy in order to make some changes as well. In terms of the Victoria Hall disaster, no one was ever prosecuted or held accountable for the deaths of the children. If you're wondering whether Victoria Hall still stands to this day, well, 58 years after this incident took place in 1941, the Germans bombed the hall in an air raid and completely destroyed it. So it is now gone, and that is all. All we have left is the legacy of what happened and the statue, and that's it.
Wow, that's crazy and horrible, but yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of shocked that you said no one was held accountable?
Correct. I think people were wondering whether the Fae should be held responsible or the hall itself should be held responsible, but nobody ever was.
I was about to say, because I feel like if this were to happen like now in the U.S., like someone would have gotten sued.
Yeah, I feel like they prosecute people for everything.
Yeah, but that sucks because it's like it's no one's fault, I guess. I mean, I guess you should have had like proper exits, but a lot of people like didn't know about that, and so it's like a lot of times when these sort of things happen, it's easier, at least for the parents, I feel like, to have something or someone to blame. And it's kind of hard to sometimes when it's just like a tragic accident, and it's like 1 minute you drop your kids off and the next they're gone. It's probably so hard for the parents to fathom like what happened, and that like I just saw my kid like 2 hours ago. Like you're telling me that my kid's dead now. Like that's just something that, I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't even like begin to fathom. But that's just probably something like horrific to endure as a parent.
Yeah, I think especially if they lost all of their children, that would just be awful.
Mom, yeah.
I also think that back then they didn't have any emergency services. So they may have been able to save some just by doing CPR or something.
Oh, that's a good point.
But a lot of people didn't even know, like, back then. Think about it, because, like, I mean, I know we are CPR certified, but I feel like in an emergency, most people kind of know how to do CPR if like just from like TV and shows and movies like that. But back then wasn't really like a thing. People didn't know about it. So a lot of times, like even if they were still alive, there wasn't much that they could do just because they didn't know.
Yeah, and I'm not sure people who are not certified would be able to do CPR correctly, but at least they're probably aware to know I do something like this.
Oh yeah, like it's definitely not something that I think people. I mean, I don't think I could have done it right if I had tried before I knew how to do it, but at least something, you know, if it happened now, someone most likely would be like CPR or first aid, something certified, but then, it's like they don't even know what to do first, or if they did, like they didn't know how.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder if they even knew about CPR. Can you imagine you have to have like almost 200 people doing CPR in children?
Right, and that's the thing. They didn't have many adults too, and when something like this happens or someone passes out, most of the time you'd be like, oh, is there a doctor or nurse here? Most of the time, there's always like, if you're in a busy place like a restaurant, there's always like some sort of doctor or nurse there or something like that. So, but then there was like no adults, and any adults
parents were all outside, as I understand.
Oh, okay. So like in there was no adults. What few adults probably weren't doctors, so they had to wait until they could get like emergency services there, and that probably would have taken a while too.
I'm not sure they even had emergency services in the late 1800s.
Right.
I mean,
I don't think.
How do you? But like, how
did they come with wagon?
Let me see.
I mean, there's no ambulances.
I was thinking about the whole accountability aspect of it. I mean, part of me is wondering. I think now businesses and recognize, okay, how do we make sure our buildings or whatever, that how we're conducting business is something that's as safe as possible.
Yeah, but buildings now are supposed to be built according to code. So
right, they didn't have that, I think.
And it was according to their code back then.
Right.
We don't know, and then the entertainment really didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
They did not create the stampede.
It's interesting because I also wonder if they had done well. Maybe the kids always ran at other places, and this is just the one where it got stuck.
That could be. This may have been the first time this happened.
Yeah.
But you do know that now in entertainment venues, you can't run. When they do something like that, they have people all over the place, so you can't run. And so it's much more controlled, too.
What's funny is I was watching a video one day, and it was recording like a street, a group of people, or just like people in general on a street. And there were people sitting down eating at a cafe because they had tables on the outside on the sidewalk. And one person ran past the cafe and was running. And immediately everyone started to slowly start run with him. Like people who were eating outside at the restaurant, people who were walking on the street, because they saw one person running, another person panicked, and then another one.
Yeah.
And everybody started running because they all thought, oh, there's something that we need to start running from.
Right.
It's like this mass hysteria that can easily happen.
Oh yeah. I did do a quick search, and it seems like they were first used like ambulances in like the 1400s, like 1487. By Spanish forces, but as for like, I think for Britain, I think they didn't start until like 1830s, because this was like what, 1883?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, they were like just starting then. They didn't really get going.
How were they actually transporting people?
They were done by like little like what wagons, yeah, with
Wagons.
horses,
Can
and
you just get
then
closer to the mic?
Wagons.
Like that.
and then I think and then when cars came out, they started to use the automobile. But yeah, I think it was the ambulance.
Can you imagine trying to transport though 183 people, even in today?
It wouldn't be possible. I mean, it would be. I mean, even
today it would be chaotic.
I know it would be. It was so
and
bad.
even now, like when I'm looking, like I'm seeing like kind of different like results. So I'm assuming if they did have emergency services, it would have been like not something that could handle this sheer amount of people, and like no way to like handle just everything and be able to really make, I think, that much of a difference. even if it would happen today, like, I mean, I don't know how ambulances can deal with that many people.
In this
I mean, they can.
modern times, they do call other
Right.
towns to help too. But I mean, you're talking about a massive number of individuals. I mean, we're close to 200 people. This is not an easy task.
Yeah, and I'm looking like if there were ambulances, it wasn't a lot. It was limited, so their best bet would just be like finding a way to get them to the hospital. Not even like, not even way to get, like, they would have to find a way to get them there.
No, because you'd have to do CPR right away.
Right.
It would take too long. They
Right.
could, I mean, and the thing is, usually when you have accidents like this, I mean, usually these individuals look at who they can save and who they can't. Yeah. Unfortunately, in this case, they would have to look at each child because they were just suffocated. So how do you know who you can and cannot save?
And that's a big, like, I feel like, dilemma that people talk about is like, how do you know which person to save in these traumatic, unfortunate events? It's everyone needs help to some degree. Most of them do. And it's just hard to pick and like figure out. And it's like, who should be the one to pick it? And it's something like I feel like I've talked about a little bit in my psych classes, because I'm a psych major, and some things it's like, who do you know to save? Like, who do you save? And we talk about like the psychological reasons, and like my evolutionary class kind of dives into it. I mean, obviously that's not really directly related to this, but my evolution class talks more about like why do we save older people over younger people or vice versa. But since they're all the same age, it's like, it's a very hard position to be in, to be the person to pick and choose who do you save and who do you not save. And in circumstances like that, it can affect someone like down the line, like, oh, like I couldn't save all of them, or, it's like kind of like survivor's guilt.
Because think about it, if like saving a child, right, full of so much potential and opportunities and innocence and purity, or saving the father of like 6 kids who is the only one supporting his entire family,
right?
It's like an impossible choice either way. And
that's kind of like one of the things that was talked about in my evolutionary class, because we, from an evolutionary standpoint, I think are more likely to choose. Well, we're more likely to choose who we're biologically related to. But then the question is like, between a grandmother or a kid, like who do we tend to pick the kid? And that's because that person has the most chances of surviving, reproducing, contributing to the survival of our species. But back to like the thing with the kids, I don't really know what else to say.
Yeah, I think that's all we can say. It's just like, it's so tragic. That's it. And at least we've learned from it and made some changes. So wrap it up. Should I wrap it up or you?
No, I think we do. You have any?
Usually wrap it up, right?
Yeah, I can wrap it up. All right, guys. Well, we do want to thank you for tuning in, whether this is your first time listening or you're coming back. We appreciate you. We appreciate you listening. We hope you enjoy this episode. I know this is like a little bit different than we normally do. We kind of got a little bit off track, but who knows? Maybe you guys like that. Unless you guys don't, I don't know, leave some comments on our Instagram if you prefer one thing or the other. It's also a little bit shorter of an episode, so I don't know if you guys like that. If you want us to do longer ones, shorter ones, let us know. But nevertheless, we really appreciate you listening. We hope that you can stay on the Erie side. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.